you could meet sort of, people on the fringes of power, and they would sort of tell you what their interpretation of events was. Under Xi Jinping, that's all gone. There's no one-on-one meeting with anybody in the Chinese apparatus. No one's allowed to tell you anything.
Interesting.
All you can do is deduce from what's said in state media, and occasionally you do see these leaks.
Let's talk a bit more about China, actually. Who is the most powerful man in the world? You might say Donald Trump with some justification, but there must surely be a case for President Xi Jinping of China. Xi rules over more than 1 billion citizens and doesn't need to bother with getting elected. Now he's got even more powerful. Xi has purged China's most senior general and taken control himself of the military. The Times China correspondent Richard Spencer joins us now from Beijing. Richard, morning to you.
Good morning.
Why has he done this?
Good question. It depends who you believe. Many different versions of this story floating around. I heard rumors in the summer. Well, I think a lot of us in China heard rumors floating around that Xi and this General Zhang Youxia were at loggerheads. There were even reports of attempted coups and wild stories of things going on in the leadership compound here in Beijing. We tended to discount them because they were unsourced and just gossip. But, often there's something going on, even if it's not quite what was said. So what's clear is that there is some sort of clash between these two guys. President Xi clearly felt his authority was being undermined. The official version is corruption, but then that's the official version for everything. And rather unusually, the announcements surrounding this have referred to the fact that Zhang is accused of effectively challenging Xi's authority, which is against the rules in China that the party commands the gun, the party commands the army. So it was definitely a clash one-on-one of some sort. We're not quite sure what over, but, you can't have that at the top of the party.
And there's a whiff of an accusation, again, who knows how true it is, that this guy might have been in some sort of relationship with the US.
Yeah, so there's a story in the Wall Street Journal that came out last night saying that he had been accused as general of leaking nuclear secrets, technical nuclear details of nuclear weapons to America. I think that's possibly, according to the Wall Street Journal, what the other generals, the surviving generals, have been told. That doesn't mean to say necessarily that anyone actually believes that. It'd be very hard, actually, for the head of the US, for the Chinese army, to leak secrets to the Americans. You don't just go and pitch up at the US embassy with a case full of secrets if you're the head of the army in China. All the leaders are very closely surveilled. But it may be that this general was very popular. He was one of the last surviving soldiers in the Chinese army who'd actually seen active service. He fought on the front lines in a war with Vietnam in the 70s. He was very popular, apparently, a tough old bird, as they say. And so it may have been they decided they had to spin a yarn about him being in league with the Americans to to the ranks.
Richard, you can answer this question as carefully as you like, and I really do mean that. How easy is it for you to report on this stuff? You're in Beijing. These are stories about the Beijing government. This is an example of Xi accruing more power to himself already, as we were saying, probably one of the most powerful men in the world, if not the most powerful man. Is this easy to report on? Is it straightforward? How easy is a gig for you?
In terms of, am I at risk for reporting about these things? No, not at all. I don't think so. We've been reporting, speculation about what's going on in the Politburo for years. What's dangerous if you actually, are leaked something
I see.
very secret. So the Wall Street Journal reporter who reported that story, she's based in America, has been for 5 years, does raise questions of how information leaks out to America. But in terms of how straightforward it is, not at all. This is an incredibly opaque system. There is now, even more than 20 years ago, when I first started covering China, you could then meet sort of junior officials on your own, have a chat. They wouldn't leak you information particularly, but they'd you were able to have a sort of fairly frank conversation. You could meet sort of, people on the fringes of power, and they would sort of tell you what their interpretation of events was. Under Xi Jinping, that's all gone. There's no one-on-one meeting with anybody in the Chinese apparatus. No one's allowed to tell you anything.
Interesting.
All you can do is deduce from what's said in state media, and occasionally you do see these leaks
elsewhere.
Abroad.
Yeah. Just finally, what are they saying about Starmer coming? Is this big news there? Is it positive news there? Have they even mentioned it? Where does that fall?
Yeah, no, it's not been officially confirmed. Slightly bizarrely, on both sides, there's no official confirmation he's going. Everyone knows he is. The foreign ministry have been asked about it. It will be good news for China. They didn't like the fact that the Liz Truss government and the Tories, turned very strongly against China, attacked China very publicly, wouldn't go to China. Since Labour's been in power, they've resumed sort of the conversation. They've sent the David Lammy when he was Foreign Secretary, and Rachel Reeves as Chancellor have already paid visits. And of course, they got their new embassy in London. So they're feeling quite positive about Britain at the moment. What Britain gets out of it, of course, is another matter. That's a bit harder to see at the moment.
Yeah, well, we might come back to it as the week progresses, Richard. You can give us what the Beijing position is on all of this. Great to speak to you. Thank you for joining us.
That's a pleasure.
That's Richard Spencer there, the Times China correspondent in Beijing.
That's so interesting that what Richard was saying there about how you report in China, because I always wonder how easy it is.
Yeah, and presumably if someone said, I'm going to leak you this, you'd have to think to yourself, as a journalist, I really want this, but where am I going to be 24 hours later?
I also often think, I don't think I've ever had anybody in my whole career say, I'm going to leak you this.
Oh.
Sometimes it comes and they don't realise what they've got.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. Yeah.
And sometimes they do realise what they've got.
But if you were in China and suddenly they give you something that they didn't know what they've got, you'd have to have a think about it, wouldn't you? Like, do I need to get out of the country before I start reporting this?
Yeah, you'd probably need to. But I don't know how easy it would be to verify, because if somebody leaks you something, you still have to verify.
Well, he was saying
the
that people won't talk to him anymore.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it'd be really quite hard to verify the accuracy of something that had been leaked to you, and especially without setting off lots of alarm bells.
Yeah,
it's very brave job. I think he's
so good at it as well, Richard Spencer. He's one of those Times guys that I always like listening to, because he always tells you stuff that you didn't know.